Hi, I'm Maddie Jacobson. Okay, imagine being a terminally ill patient laying in bed knowing that your disease or cancer is going to take your life any day. Now, wouldn't you rather make the decision of when you die rather than have your illness decide when you pass away? Many people don't think that a physician prescribing you medicine that will kill you is right. Although in today's society, suicide has been a very common answer for many people, and I'm not here to tell you that it is. But the right to die through physician-assisted suicide should be an individual's decision, especially if they're competent to make their own decision, are terminally ill, and everyone is guaranteed civil rights through the 14th Amendment. Now, what is physician-assisted suicide? According to a physician's and ethicist's perspective, it is a physician prescribing a lethal amount of medication with the intent of the patient taking them to commit suicide. It is mandated by state law in 3 states, Oregon, Vermont, and Washington, and is mandated by court law in 2 states, Montana and New Mexico. Although in New Mexico it is only legal in 1 county. Next, when a physician makes the decision to prescribe the lethal amount of medication, it is important to check the mental health status of the patient because you want to make sure they are competent enough to end their own life. Another thing to check when making this decision as a physician is making sure that they are not in distress from other life events, such as losing someone close to them or another family member. In addition, informed consent plays a big part of a physician's role with assisted suicide. They should make sure to list other options, the possible side effects of drugs, and drawbacks of taking the lethal amount of medication. A patient who is terminally ill should be able to make the decision to die before their illness kills them. For example, more recently, Brittany Maynard took her life through assisted suicide right after refusing treatment to be able to live her life to the fullest before passing away. Another reason that the patient who are terminally ill should be able to take their own life is because it gives the family notice on when to expect their family member to pass away. Lastly, it also allows the person who is terminally ill to not leave their bed unable to take care of themselves. Like Mrs. Maynard, for example, because she didn't go through chemotherapy, she was able to travel the world to places she wanted to go before passing away. Lastly, the patient who chooses to die through physician-assisted suicide has civil rights protected through the 14th Amendment. It addresses citizenship rights and equal protections of laws. Civil rights are political and social freedom equality. Assisted suicide falls under social freedom because it requires a physician's help and is ultimately the patient's decision. Moreover, it is under civil law that people have the right to make their own choices and choose the way they want to live. It is not up to anyone but ourselves to make decisions for them by telling them what they can and cannot do, especially when they don't know what we're going through. In conclusion, physician-assisted suicide is prescribing a lethal amount of medication for a patient to take. It is a state law in 3 states and court mandated in 2 states. Assisted suicide should be legal in more states, especially if the patient is competent, terminally ill, and civil rights, making it the patient's right to make the decision.